Soften up the mess, drop it in the water, let the daughter find her image with the rest. She'll be learning how to breathe, spinning through identity.
Hi guys, and welcome to the Godly Girlies podcast. I am your host, Kiera, and today I am joined by a special guest for Testimony Tuesday.
Hi, my name is Katy. I am an Earth and Environmental Sciences major at Wright State, and what else was I supposed to say?
I don't say where you're from.
I'm from Eaton, Ohio. It's about an hour west of here. Really cool, small town, not much to do. We just got a Goodwill, which is really fun.
It's the only Goodwill?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah. And one really cool thing is I work for ODNR, so that is Ohio Department of Natural Resources, and I work for the state parks.
She's so cool.
It's super fun.
Oh my goodness. I'm so excited to have Katy because Katy's like so cool. But so today, like I said, Katy's going to be here for Testimony Tuesday. So we're going to, in a little bit, just walk through her testimony, and then we'll go into any questions that were submitted to the poll. So you already know by now, go follow the Instagram so you can submit questions to the poll for our next guest. All right. To get us started, kind of like, what was your childhood like? You know, were you exposed to the faith as a child, and like, what was your experience with God in youth?
Yeah, so I grew up in a Christian household, which I'm super blessed by. Went to church all my life, did the church camps, was that kid that volunteered once I was too old to go. I really found myself like not wanting to go when I was around that age in like middle school. And then once I got like deeper into that, like, I don't really want to go, I tried to run like hardcore, turn tail the other direction. And it did not turn out very well. My life was pretty sad at that point, but I kind of came back towards high school. And then once I got into college, it kind of just took off from there. And joined Chi Alpha, and it's been much better since. It's a short little, there's a lot in there, but yeah.
Very short. We're going to dig deep, girl. We're going to dig deep. So you talked about how kind of like you started to like run from God. Mm-hmm. What kind of like, I don't know, led you to do that? Or like, were there any like things that were going on at that time that kind of made you want to like run? Or like, what were you running towards?
I wasn't really running towards anything necessarily. What made me do that? I thought the world hated me. I was really, like in middle school, I got super depressed. I never went and got like diagnosed with it, but I was talking to my mom one time and she was like, "Are you okay?" And like asked me if I was like sleeping well or eating well. And I was like, "No, I'm not." She's like, "Are you sad all the time?" I said, "Yeah." And she prayed for me that night, and she's like, "I'm pretty sure," she didn't say it, but the way she worded her question, so I was like, I think she thinks I'm depressed. And I thought everyone hated me. I didn't really have a lot of friends. If you didn't know, I am a twin, and so
I do know.
We got compared a lot, and so I really didn't have my own like personal identity, and because of that, I don't think I really found like my identity with Christ, which really, that was really like the hard thing. And yeah, in middle school, I was just like, no, this stuff's dumb. I didn't want to go because my parents made me go all the time, and I just became super uninterested, thought that the pastor was just preaching the same thing over and over, which he really wasn't. He was just like doing his thing, and I'm like, it's stupid. And middle school was tough. I think I was, it was like 7th or 8th grade. It was in the middle of the school year. I tried to commit suicide, which was really tough. I was in the bathtub. I was going to drown myself because heard that's not super painful. And I ran out of air. And then all of a sudden this thought just went across my mind, like, what's going to happen if your parents find you? And at that point, I was like, I can't do that. And then we had like talks about it in middle school, and I was like, I'm such a selfish person because, I thought that other people's lives were going to be better if I wasn't in it. And then after that point was when I started to like not necessarily like start running straight towards the church and towards people, because from the outside looking into our family, we were perfect and nothing like was super wrong. And that was also a pretty hard like wall to keep up.
Yeah.
I had never really told anybody until I got into college that stuff like that was happening. And it was really freeing, because I was like, I can't, like, I don't think I've ever told my parents either. So if they watch this, they're gonna know. But that's okay. Hi, Mom and Dad. But yeah, and then after that point, I was like, I really need to like find something. And still kind of had those thoughts in high school where I was like, man, people just hate me. And I did live that double life. I wasn't like the smoking, drinking kind of high schooler, but I was definitely a very different person at school than I was at home. And that was also pretty tough to keep up with.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a lot.
It's okay.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing. I definitely feel like there's a lot of people who go through similar situations. I feel like it's something that a lot of people go through, but not a lot of people talk about.
Yeah.
But it's so good that God saved you.
Absolutely.
So
So I have met some incredible people since then, and I'm so thankful for every single one of them. I think I got too far away from the mic there. I'm thankful for all of my wonderful people.
So, going into high school, you kind of talked about how, like, you were still having, like, some of those thoughts of, like, you know, everybody hating you. Was that because of, like issues of, like, you not having friends? Or, like, was it just kind of, like, a mental thing for you? Or, like...
So it really stemmed from that comparison between my sister and I. We had the same friends, like, all the time, which I never, like, that never really bothered me. Two of the guys that we were friends with then, we're still friends with now. So it's really cool. We all, like, get together, and it's like brother and sister. But it was in high school where people would come up to me and they would say, "Oh, your sister's prettier than you," or "You're the mean twin," because, you know, I'm the older one, so I've got that fight in me. And people would bully my sister in middle school, and I would bully them back. And so I had the reputation of being the mean twin. And so just all those, like, stupid little things that people say to you, like, "Oh, like, you're not as pretty as her," or "Everyone would rather date your sister than you." And I'm like, okay. And so I had a lot of resentment for a lot of those people. And then once I realized, like, I'm my own person, and if they're judging me based on my sister, who isn't anything like me, then, you know, that's on them. That's not on me.
Yeah, that's a good realization. I just think that's so crazy because I was on your Instagram stalking.
You were stalking my Instagram.
It was after you followed me. I do it with everyone.
Oh, gotcha. I think I stalked yours too, so see? I don't know why I'm shocked.
But, like, I saw the pictures of, like, you and your sister, and, like, for a second I was like, whoa, well, like, which one is which? Because I realized you guys have, like, the exact same face, but it's just, like, on different head shapes.
Yeah.
So, like, when you turn certain ways, I had no clue who was who. And if you didn't tag her, like, I was lost. I was like, wait. And then I had to be like, oh, well, her hair was curled in that one, and her hair is straight, so that's got to be Katy.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yep.
Side tangent.
That's okay. So my face is actually, like, shorter and rounder than hers is. If you stare hard enough, you can tell. And hers is just a little bit longer.
It's crazy. Like, you're very identical.
Yeah, but we actually aren't identical twins.
You're fraternal? Mm-hmm. How's that, like, made? Is it not just about, like, faces?
No. So identical twins is when the egg is fertilized and then that egg splits. And fraternal twins is when two eggs are fertilized.
Oh. So how does one know that? Like, how did you find that out?
The doctor told my mom. But okay. I have no idea how they can tell. I'm just hoping that I don't have twins. Because my mom said it was hard.
Oh,
but we'll see.
Isn't it, like, in your genetics now?
I guess. I mean, my great grandpa was a twin, so it, like, skips generation, so it's possible. that my sister and I could have
How
twins.
cool. I've always wanted twins, but there's no twins in my family. So I'm just hoping like God just plants a seed.
He just gives you that.
Literally,
This is what you prayed for. Here you go.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, I didn't consider the actually having the baby part. Yikes. Back on track.
Anyways. Yeah.
So, back to high school. Did you feel like things got better eventually in high school, or was it only once you got into college? Like, kind of, when did things change?
Kind of during COVID, which is kind of weird because a lot of people were like, COVID like messed me up. But just having that solitude, like away from my friends, which is really sad because I love and I miss my friends all the time. But just being able to be off by myself sometimes, especially after like all the schoolwork was done. I did pick up my Bible occasionally. I wasn't as like disciplined as I am now. But I would pick it up every once in a while. And then I was like, dang, there's some good stuff in here. Like, why did I never read this? And I think it's because I had, like, in middle school, I had that thing where I was like, oh, like, the church is just same old thing. Like, it's not interesting at all. And I never, like, went and looked in the book that we have, you know, the Bible. I mean, it's, and my youth pastor told me this, Bible stands for basic instructions before leaving earth. And I was like, that's exactly what it is. Like, it tells you, even though the book was written thousands of years ago and by a bunch of different people, like, you can apply what's in it to today. And I'm like, oh my gosh, why was I so, like, sad? Why did I think everyone hated me? I was like, the only thing I need is Jesus. And then after COVID, after COVID, it's still kind of prevalent, but it's not as big as it was. I kind of fell off from that again. And then picked it back up when I transferred to Wright State.
Wow, literally same girl.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like for COVID, or for people, COVID was either like absolutely terrible because they were like away from friends and like friends were like their outlet, or like it was a time where a lot of people just like got back into their Bible. Like, I know the same was for like me, and I think Jayana talks about that too in her episode. Go watch that if you haven't.
I did watch it.
But yeah, I think a lot of people talk about that. And dang, I just lost my train of thought that quickly. It was just like a great time to like isolate in the right way. And like, because it was like you had nothing else to do. I remember that was when I like bought my Bible and I bought like a journal, and I was like, you know, I'm gonna start doing devotionals, like. And then
be like, I want to be that Instagram girly.
Exactly. And I was.
That was not me. I just read it. I also don't think I had Instagram at the time.
Oh.
I've only had it like 2 years.
Why is that?
Just rules my parents had.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's probably good. So what was your transition like to college?
Yeah. That was really interesting. So as I was telling you earlier, my first year of college was in Indianapolis. Go Greyhounds, even though it's Raider up now and we're so much better. Anyways, but yeah, I wanted to get as far away from my house as I possibly could. Because like in middle school and high school, like my parents were really strict, and looking back on it now, I really appreciate it, but I did not like it. I was like, I can't believe, like, they won't let me date. They won't let me have Instagram and Snapchat. Like, all my friends have this, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, you know what? Thank you so much. But, yeah, I wanted to get so far away, which is why I went to Indianapolis. Ended up not being where I should have been. Because my parents were like, oh, just pray about it. And I was like, haha, I did. And I actually didn't. Because I just wanted to get out. So Indianapolis ended up not being the place for me. I did make some good friends towards the end, but just kind of was like, you know what, I'm not coming back. So I transferred to Wright State, like very last minute, like probably a month before the semester was supposed to start. And I was surprised they let me in, actually. And so I ended up commuting. So that was really, really tough because I spent like 10 hours a week driving, because it's an hour to campus and then an hour back to my house. And I had homework and a job. And so it was quite a bit. but I went to Fall Fest in August, I think is when it is. So it's our, so yeah, Fall Fest is our like campus org, like join the organizations.
Oh, okay.
So we have one coming up. It's called,
orgs.
it's called April Craze, which is like the same thing for spring. And so I went
cute.
with a girl that actually goes to church with me because she goes to Wright State. And she was like kind of in Chi Alpha, kind of not in the her freshman year. And so I was like, well, let me meet you here because I don't know anybody on campus. And so she took me over to the Chi Alpha table. She's like, I got to let you meet these people. And the first person I met in Chi Alpha was Caleb Roberts. And I was talking to a bunch of people and they were like, yeah, Caleb was the first person I met. And I was like, why does everybody just meet Caleb? But I met Caleb and Miranda. And if you didn't know, I'm kind of a country girl. So I was in my boots, in my jeans, and my hat. And it was perfect because Fall Fest that year was like Western themed. And at their table, they had like you could like shoot cups with like a Nerf gun. And so I did like the best. And they were like, oh, so you got that country girl vibes or whatever. And I was like, yeah. And so from that point on, I joined Chi Alpha. I was in Deja and Lexi's core group. And then they asked me to join leadership. And yeah, here I am. And it's been quite a journey. But just going from like Indianapolis, where I was like, I don't really feel like I should be here, to going to Wright State, kind of like against my will. Not really against my will. Like I transferred, but I didn't really want to go to Wright State.
Yeah.
But recently I've been like reflecting and I'm like, thank you, Lord. You know, because if I was still in Indianapolis, I don't know what I would have been doing. And like you led me straight to this community that's done nothing but build me up this entire time. And like my relationship has grown so much deeper with you since being here. And it's only my second year. Like next year I'll be a senior, so I'm graduating. But
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my gosh, you did all of this in 1 year. And this is my second year and it's gotten better. Like I can't imagine what next year's going to be like. It's going to be incredible.
Oh my goodness, literally me. Like the Lord we work is so quick. I just love that for
Right.
you. Okay, so this year was your first year in leadership.
Yes.
So how was that for you? Like what were some things you encountered or had to get through?
Yeah. So it was really interesting because I am an introvert by nature. So I don't particularly care for meeting new people. So when my discipler last year asked me to be a leader, I was like, I almost said no. I was like, I have no idea. She's like, well, just do it and like see how you feel. Like you don't have to be a leader. I went through it was called LTC at the time. So I went through LTC. And I was like, this content's really good. And then I led a couple core groups last year, which went really well. I ended up doing one by myself and like I audio recorded it and then sent it to my discipler. And she was like, wow, like you did a really good job. And I was like, oh, okay, thank you. And then right before school started this year, so like I think second week of August is when school started, I went to Launch, which is like the leadership retreat, like right before school starts. And they like prep you as much as possible because fall push, it's real and it's tough. And I, for some reason, just got this overwhelming sense of fear. Like, I don't know why they called me into leadership. Like, I'm not qualified for this. Like, I don't know anything, you know. Like, I read my Bible over the summer, but it really wasn't that great. Like, my relationship with God isn't where I think it should be. And Angela Barron, I love that woman with my whole soul. She came and sat next to me and was like, what is going on? Because I'm sitting on the floor of the youth building at CAG, and I'm like crying my eyes out. She's like, what's going on? And I was just like telling her, and she's like, read Romans 8:1. And I was like, okay. So let me see if I can remember it. The first part says there's no condemnation for those who are in Christ. And that part alone, I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, if I've got Jesus right next to me and like I'm walking with him and he's walking with me, then I don't have anything to worry about.
Yeah.
Like, I need to lean on him and not lean on my own understanding because that's also in the Bible. And so it went really well. And then I got into a relationship in October. And I was like, yeah, I got this. I can definitely put God like above everything. And that did not happen. So my relationship with Christ really fell off during that time. And I was still leading, and I felt like I was leading my girls like straight to hell. It was so bad. I was like, I'm not abiding, like, and I'm teaching these girls, the like what I know about Christ, but I'm not, gaining any more knowledge by just not reading. And so I felt really bad about that. And so then that relationship ended in January, and it's been a slow progress, but I'm getting back to where I was. There's some days that are better than others. But yeah, it was a really interesting journey, and I was like, okay, I should probably wait a hot minute before I decide I should start another relationship, because I guess I think that something else is more important than Jesus, and that is not okay. So that was, dang. Yeah.
Well, thank you for sharing all of that. Okay, so you're talking about your experience as a leader. And I feel like with talking to other people who are leaders, specifically Megan, she kind of talked about like the same thing. Like, I feel like everyone gets those fears of like not being adequate. And it's just like, I think that's the biggest thing I've learned from like DT, because now it's not LTC but DC. Anywho, like everyone's always like, like you don't have to have it all together. Like you don't have to know everything. It's just like the same way with like people in the Bible. Like God literally just calls them where they are with what they're doing. Like you're working at your relationship with him, and he sees that. So then he puts you in a position to just grow closer to him. So I just think that's, I don't know, such an interesting pattern. I'm starting to realize like, everyone's worried. And
right. And I read somewhere, it's like the devil has no new tricks. Like he's just gonna attack with the same thing over and over and over again. And so he's gonna find where you're the weakest and just exploit that. And usually what that is anxiety. And so people are like, oh, I'm so nervous, like I don't know if I can do it. And then you read your Bible and he's like, be anxious for nothing. And it's like, oh, right. You're like, literally. Wait, like God literally created the entire universe. Like, what do I have to worry about? Yeah. It's like, this is one, small section of my life, which my life is like a vapor, And so, yeah, you get a little bit of comfort. Like, even though you're like, oh, my life is really short, but then you're like, I don't have anything to worry about because God's got me.
Exactly. And it's like you're here for a short time, all to be an eternity forever.
Right. I can't wait to get to heaven.
I'm so excited, but I know I still got some time. Right?
Oh yeah, definitely.
But yeah. So, what's going on like now? Like you've kind of almost gotten through like your first year in leadership. How do you kind of like turn things around like after January when you kind of like ended your relationship? Like how did that affect your I was gonna say discipleship, but your core group?
So I wouldn't say like I thought it was affecting my core group, because I was like, I'm just coming into the lesson that I'm teaching, like doing it just an hour before, when I should have been like studying and like trying to get into it. But I was always just so exhausted. And I know that's not an excuse, and it definitely is. Actually, it's not an excuse at all. But I didn't feel like I was giving my girls like what they needed. And so because I was always exhausted, I felt like it kind of reflected in the way that I was teaching. And a couple of them had asked me, they were like, are you okay? And I was like, yeah. And like I didn't really explain anything, because I was like, I don't really want to, worry anybody. But I kind of wish I had. And not like in a way that would have been nagging, just been like, hey, like this is what's going on, and I could really use some prayer. And that's something that I really didn't do. I did lean on my co-leaders, which I'm super thankful for them. Emma Boys and Ariana, shout out to you. Love you guys so much. You guys have been my support so much, and I'm super thankful for them. But yeah, not that I thought it was directly affecting them, but I thought it was, just because of the way that I was going about finding, the material for my lesson.
Yeah. Heard. So, what are some like things that like recently you have, learned, or like that God has like recently revealed to you?
Patience. And that, oh my gosh, is so tough. So it's something I've always like kind of prayed for because I like to have things like on my timeline, because when it comes to timelines, wow, tongue twister. I'm a very particular person. So like I have a Google calendar, like everything's all laid out. I put on here today, UD library from this time to this time. I was like, you have to leave 30 minutes early. So just in case you get lost, you have time. And yeah, it's God's timing and not mine. And so there's a lot of things that I've like tried to have happen and they haven't happened. Or I jumped right into it, ended up not being super good for me. Perfect example, that relationship. Definitely didn't pray about it, and I should have. But it's also something where I jumped into it because I had a feeling it was going to happen. And I don't know if that makes me sound like a terrible person, but I really, I don't regret it. I don't regret that relationship. But just some other things where I'm like, oh, I could do like X, Y, and Z, like with my job. I want to work my job and I want to eventually go to the national parks. But if that's not God's plan and he wants me to wait 4 or 5 years until I get there, or if that's not what he has for me, then I have to be patient and just let him work it out. And that's something that's going to be tough. But I know that once I get that, it's going to be okay. Yeah. And like, as long as you, just keep doing your thing and you just keep listening to God, he's gonna take care of you, Katy. It's okay.
That is good soup.
Yeah.
JJ says that, and now it's my thing. But yeah, that is really good. Like, I feel like a lot of us pray for patience, but then we like don't realize what comes with that. And sometimes it is like the act of like going through situations so that you can then gain the capacity to have patience. And it's like, that'd be the hard part.
Also, dealing with tough people really grows your patience, because I have tough people I'm dealing with currently, and that's been fun. Because I not only do I have to have patience, but I also have to have grace and mercy on top of that. Yeah. And when, you kind of just do your thing and you're like, oh, well, maybe this person will just kind of realize like they're kind of annoying me a little bit. And then they don't. They don't. And then you're like, oh, I can't believe they would do that. Well, it's like, if you don't say anything, then they're not going to know. Yeah. But you also have to realize like they might be going through something as well. And so they're not doing that because you did something. They're just expressing, whatever's going on in them because something else is happening. And that's always something hard because if they wrong you, you just want to lash out. But you're like, all right, it's not me. It's okay. Like, I still love you, but please stay at a distance for the minute and I'll get back to you later.
Yeah, that is good. That is so true. Like, sometimes it's just hard, but you have to like remember like where you once were and like think of all the people who gave you grace, and
right,
who were patient with you as you like got to where you are now. And also like the part about not knowing what someone's going through. I feel like growing up, my mom always talked about that because like I was a person who like bring all my problems to my mom. Maybe not all of them, but a decent amount. And she would like just make me think about like the other person's side and like, well, what if they did this because of this? And like, what if they did this because of this? And then it's just like, now it's kind of like instilled in my head, like not to just immediately be like, oh my goodness, why did you do that? But, oh my goodness, why did you? Why could you have did that? You know?
Yeah.
I don't know if that made sense, but
no, I got you. I'm picking up what you're putting down.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
All righty, let's get to some questions.
Oh, I'm excited. I want to know what the people want to know.
Ooh. Branielle says, hi, Katy.
Hello.
Brielle's just always saying hi to somebody. Okay, so the first question is, I mean, you kind of touched on this a little bit, but how is your twin a part of your testimony?
Oh my gosh, yes. So, my twin, Emma, which I'll have to let her know that this is on here so she can listen. But she's actually like a ginormous part of my testimony. She was probably the one and only person that was there for me when I needed her the most. Like I never really felt like I could go straight to my friends. And I also, she doesn't know, or she knows like everything that's happened. But that was a recent discovery for her because we really, I wouldn't say that we hated each other, but we definitely were not the best of friends. We were in like middle school and high school. And I think it's because of that comparison that I was talking about earlier. But even though like we would get mad at each other, you know, all of our anger fits would always end in us just laughing so hard. The other week, she was home for the weekend because she goes to school up north, so I don't see her very often. She's actually coming home this weekend, and I'm so excited. But I don't even remember what it was, but it was like 2 a.m. and we were just laughing so loud. I was so scared my parents were going to come down the hallway. And I was like, why am I scared? We're 20 years old. Like, we can laugh if we want. But anyways, and so she's like my best friend. And I don't feel like I tell her that very often. But yeah, we didn't get along super well. And then right before we left for college, our senior year, we got super close. Like we did everything together. Like one of us had to go to the bank, the other one was right along with us. We would always trade off who was gonna drive because we both got vehicles. And so I'd be like, well, I want to drive my truck. Oh, I want to drive my car. And so we would just get, you know, and then one of us would figure it out. And yeah, she's always just been there. And she actually told me some stuff that had been going on with her, and I was like, I literally dealt with the same thing. And it was crazy because neither one of us had talked about it. But we found out that we had been dealing with the same thing almost at the same time. And if we had just talked to each other and been like, hey, I need you at the moment, like, can I tell you something like really important? Then it would have been like we would have each other's back. But now we do. And I call her up every once in a while. I actually left her a voicemail the other day. I saw she drives a Ford Focus, and I saw one, and she drives a red one. I saw a red one, and I called her, and she texted me. She's like, "Can I call you back in a minute?" I was like, "Just listen to my voicemail." I said, "Hey, like I just saw a Ford Focus, and it made me think of you. Like I miss you, I love you, and like I hope you have a good week." And
I'm gonna cry.
she actually ended up posting it on her Snapchat, and she's like, "I love my sister so much," and I was like, "I love you more," but okay. So yeah, she's just really been there, even if it was a thing where like I didn't say anything to her, like I could just walk into the room, she'd be like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "No," or I'd be like, "Yeah, it's fine." Yeah, it's just been my one and only person.
Oh my God.
Like if we both stay single for the rest of our lives, I think we would be okay living together.
Have each other.
Yeah.
Somebody get the tissue. That was so cute.
It's really a like unique relationship. 'Cause I don't know, like, do you have any siblings?
Yeah, I have 3.
Yeah. So I don't know, like take that like sibling relationship and then like multiply it by like 10, because you're not the same person, but you're kind of the same person. And so it's like, you just have, I don't know, I feel like it's just an extra special connection. And it's not twin telepathy. It's not a thing. Everyone's like, yeah, you guys do that thing where, I'm like, no, we don't.
I used to ask all my friends who were twins that, because like in my high school, there were like 5 pairs of twins. Like we had an insane amount of twins. You would have thought there was something in the Inglewood water because it was like.
Wait, did you go to Northmont?
Yeah. Go T-Bolts.
Oh my gosh. My pastor's son and his best friend also went to Northmont.
Oh my goodness. Are they like around your age?
Yeah.
What's their name?
Josh Harbaum and Luke Pennell.
Luke Pennell sounds familiar.
Yeah.
I'm more of a I know the face kind of girl.
Oh. Well, Luke, he actually got married a little bit ago.
Oh my
But Yeah.
Who'd they get married to?
Her name is Kirsten, I think. I don't know.
I do know Kirsten, but
I don't remember what her last name is. Well, I mean, it's Pennell now, but, you know.
maiden name. That's so
But
crazy.
yeah.
Like, people are getting married. My goodness.
I know. And her dress was so pretty. I was like, oh, you're so cute.
We're going to have to look at this after the podcast.
Oh, yeah. I'll pull it up.
Thank you. Yeah, I just thought that was so cute. Growing up, I used to always say I wanted a twin. I just thought she would fall out the sky. Like the Lord would
That's
just give
hilarious.
it to me. Like I would just find my doppelganger one day.
Yeah.
Okay, next question. What advice do you have for Christians who want to grow deeper in their relationship with God?
Oh, that's a good one. Let me think. Don't limit yourself. So, and what I mean by that is like find a time where you can abide, but don't be like, okay, I'm gonna read 2 chapters today, and that's gonna be it. Like, if you read your 2 chapters that you're wanting to read, and then you're like, oh man, like I really like, I'm enjoying this, you know, like God is really speaking to me a lot through my abiding time, then read more. Mm-hmm. Or if you're, you know, not, I wouldn't say not in the mood to read, but like, if you're not in the mood to read, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
You just get that, or you're like, I don't really want to read today. Then worship. Mm-hmm. And if, you know, worship's not your vibe, then just pray, you know? So there's so many different things that you can do. And God is not limited to just reading or just worshiping or just praying. Like, he's there with you in all of those things. Mm-hmm. And that's something that I've been working on, because my prayer life is weak. I'm going to be real. It is very, very weak. I love worshiping and I love reading my Bible. And then another thing that you can do is like read other books. So I'm working on reading Celebration of Discipline, which, oh, you weren't there at that connection, but Amani taught on simplicity. And so that's also in there. So I'm working on getting to that chapter. But yeah, you know, just do what, you know, you think is going to help you out the most. And yeah, don't limit yourself.
That was good. I know I watched this TikTok once, and it was like talking about how like your spirit is like your regular body, and it's like you gotta like hit all three. Mm-hmm. Like you gotta pray, you gotta fast, you gotta worship, you gotta read your Bible, because it's like, what if you only did arm day, or what if you you only did leg day? Yeah. Then when you go to pick up something that's real heavy, you can't. Mm-hmm. Now, if you picked it up with your legs, you could. Mm-hmm. Anywho, the point is you gotta like strengthen like all parts of your spirit, because it's like where you're weak is where like the devil could like attack you with something. Yes. Like if you know, pray, read your Bible, worship, but like maybe you don't fast, then like you could be going through something where the only answer is to fast. Mm-hmm. And that's how the devil will get you, because he knows you ain't out here fasting.
Right.
Girl, you spitting wisdom. I'm going to have you back for Wisdom Wednesday.
Oh, all right. Hey, I don't mind that. Anyways, so another thing that my pastor did say, and it's always stuck with me, and I don't think it's weird, but sometimes when I say it, I'm like, that's kind of weird. But it's like, you feed your physical body at least 3 times a day. You should be eating 3 times a day, by the way. All you people who don't eat breakfast, you should eat breakfast. Mm-hmm. It really helps.
Mom,
anyways.
If you're watching this, coffee is not breakfast.
Anyways, so you feed yourself 3 meals a day, right? So why would you feed your spirit 2 cold snacks a week? Ooh. If you go to church only on Sunday and Wednesday and you're not filling yourself throughout the week, then your spirit is going to be weak, but your spirit is the thing that leaves this planet when we pass away. So it should be strong as well.
Ooh, that was really good.
Thank you, Pastor Harbaum.
Thank you, Pastor Harbaum. Wow, that was good. 2 cold snacks a week. Not even warm snacks.
I know. He said 2 cold snacks, and I was like, ooh, ouch.
Literally.
I was like, well, because that was me. That was me. And now, you know, I'm getting it. It's meals. Period. As I should be.
Yeah. Strong on the inside and the outside.
Absolutely.
Okay, the last question, I feel like we we kind of already talked about this. I kind of asked it for you already, but if you have a different answer, you can re-answer. So what is a recent revelation that God has revealed to you?
Yeah, just the same thing. Just have patience.
Yeah.
And also, like I was talking about, like how just to let him work his plan out, you know, don't try and take control of your life because it's not yours. I mean, we're living it, and we have plans. Like, you know, man, I've had this whole plan for years, right? I'm going to work for the state for a little bit. I'm going to get a park job with the national parks out west. I'm going to move west. I'm going to find me a nice, cute little cowboy, and I'm going to have myself a little farm. That's what I want. But if that's not God's plan for my life, then so be it. Because this is also something I didn't say, but last year at SALT, so 23. Yeah, 23. Pastor Aaron Burke, he was the speaker. And there was, I think it was the last like night service. He said, well, just sit here for a minute. And if you hear something just absolutely insane, like crazy out of the blue, and you've never thought of it before, it's probably God. And I heard full-time missions. And I'm like, man, I'm like, I just want my ranch, dude. I'm like, come on, Jesus. But I'm also like, from that point on, I kind of looked back and I was like, things are kind of lining up a little bit, you know, because I was called into leadership. There's another conference that I go to in July called Invasion. And that's like my pastor's pastor, which that conference is really cool. But there was an altar call for like the fivefold ministry or like ministry just in general. And I was like, I'm not going to be a preacher. Like, I don't need to go up there. But I just felt it. I was like that I needed to go up there, and I had no idea why. And yeah, and then I got called into leadership, and then that happened at SALT, and now I'm going on the missions trip in May. And I'm like, I just want my farm, please. But, you know, back to that thing is like, it's his life. You know, he knew every single person on this planet before he even made it. Yeah. You know, and that thought alone is just like unfathomable. It's like, oh my gosh, like that's crazy. Yeah. It's 2024 and he knew me before he even said, let there be light. I'm like, what in the world? But like, that's just wild. And so, you know, he knew us. And so he knows what we are capable of and what he can help us with. And like how our life is going to be. Like, he has our life planned out. We just have to be like, yes, Lord, and do it. Yeah. And that's also another tough thing for me. It's just to like let him do his thing. Because I'm like, I just want that farm, please. So we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah. Maybe like you'll go on a mission somewhere and you'll have a farm.
Yeah. Or maybe, I don't know. Maybe I'll do a Chi Alpha out west. I don't know. We'll see. It's not my life.
Farm. Wow, that was some good stuff. That was all our questions, but man, oh man, were these 45 minutes jam-packed with some good stuff. But to end us off, is there any, final words you have? Any, shout-outs you want to give regarding what you're doing in life, social media, whatever? The time is yours.
You don't need to follow my Instagram. There's nothing cool on there.
You want to see your twin sister?
Yeah. I think I might have a work post on there. So if you want to see the Raptors I work with, then you can look at it. But I haven't posted on there in like months. But no, I mean, just like the Chi Alpha people, really, because they've been my backbone for the most part. Yeah, just, Ariana, Emma, Heather Erickson, that woman, oh my gosh, I love her so much. Her and Angela, it's just fantastic. Which Angela, we actually have a really funny story. So first connection I ever came to, I had left my phone on the floor beneath my chair, and she had come out and was like, I have somebody's phone. And I was like, oh, that's mine. And then she didn't introduce herself. And I think it was either the next connection or it was the same night because we had gone to Culver's at one point. And I was talking to her and Darius, and I was like, yeah, like I got to drive back home. And they're like, well, where's home? And I was like, oh yeah, it's like an hour away. And they were like, what? I was like, yeah, I just drive an hour. And they were like, you can stay in our basement. And I was like, no, I'm okay. And then a couple weeks later, she had realized she never introduced herself to me. And so she's like, I
just like
probably
a
sounded
random
like
person.
a really creepy person. I was like, honestly, I didn't think anything of it. Like, I just thought you were being nice because, you know, you're Chi Alpha people.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Anywhere else, it would have been like weird.
Right.
I have your phone. You understand my base.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, and then also my 2 girls that I disciple, Daisy and Jalen, they are so incredible. Both of them are freshmen. And I have watched them grow so much this semester. Like, at first they were like, oh, like, I don't know anything about Jesus. I'm so nervous. And then, both of them, like, I called both of them up into DT. Jalen went through it. Daisy was like, maybe not this time, like, maybe next semester. And I was like, well, if you're in my core group, I'm going to call you into DT. I haven't told her that yet, but I'm going to tell her. But they, like, just watching them, like, grow has been super incredible. So I love them too as well. We actually painted tote bags last night and it was so much fun.
That is so cute.
Yeah.
Look at you. Hanging with your core group outside of core group.
Absolutely.
Wow. Chi Alpha would be so proud. Well, that was all we have. Thank you so much for being here.
Of course.
Katy. You got JJ on the side. JJ, would you like to say anything? I like, after talking to everyone else.
Somebody's at the door. You can invite her in. Yeah. An extra special guest on the podcast.
This is so crazy because we had just talked about it.
Hello.
Hi, Katy. Can I give her a hug?
Yeah.
Hello, people. I'm glad to be back. I was being background.
Okay.
This is so crazy because we talked about this in the last episode. Like, what if the next few ones, JJ just sits in the corner and ad-libs, and then here she is.
Oh, I love that.
She said, should I? We'll see. Yeah, pray about it. JJ, side note, JJ is here to take pictures because she's doing, well, you can explain. I'm going to be featured in a magazine for my podcast.
That's exciting.
So you're going to be famous too, girl.
Yay.
And action.
Do you want to say anything to the podcast?
Camera turn. No. Can it hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah,
this?
we can hear you.
Just imagine that she's right there. I just really miss doing this. I can't wait to be back. When am I coming back? Here.
Come on, keep going.
Hi, people.
Yeah, there you are. Hello.
Oh my goodness, this microphone bending. Wherever you are, give it up for Katy. She's so gorgeous. Look at her cheeks. They're so cute.
I've been smiling this whole time. My muscles hurt.
Yeah, that happens. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh my goodness. We can do this for a whole nother hour, girl.
Yeah.
We don't have another hour. Well, we gonna make.
Just be like, hey, I need another hour.
Yeah,
It's okay. I can skip my class.
I'll be back, guys. Just give me.
I'm gonna skip it. It's really boring.
Okay.
Don't tell my professor.
I know he's watching. Or she.
No, he's probably not watching.
Yeah. Alrighty. Well, thank you so much, Katy, for being here. Thank you, Jayana, for coming through.
Yeah.
Happy to be here.
Extra
always.
special guest appearance.
Make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe. All the YouTube things. Check out the description for the social medias for the podcast, and also for Katy's Instagram. Woo! See the animals and her twin sister right here. I guess that is where it'll be. So yeah.
Tag it.
So thank you guys for watching. See you in the next video. Jesus loves you. Bye. Oh, I'm doing the wrong hand.
Walk her down the valley, pack a piece of heaven for the bottoms of her feet. Teach her how to jump and how to stretch when she reach.